Happy Lesbian Visibility Week. Happy Lesbian Visibility Day. From me, I'm Robin. I'm the CEO at Her, and from all of the Her team, to all our lesbians in our thriving community, we see you, we love you. And a big thing we're wanting to talk about this year for Lesbian Visibility Day is the incredible breadth and representation of this lesbian community. There are some, frankly, just like hideous, overbearing, aggressive, offensive voices right now on the internet, the TERFs, and we're them. We are here to make it clear that lesbians exist of all different kinds and types. There is no one way to be a lesbian. And so anyone who is trying to suggest or other you in your lesbian identity can get the out, especially if it's on Her. We are a platform for all lesbians, trans lesbian, non-binary lesbians. You are all part of our lesbian community. And there's no space for TERFs on Her. So with that, happy Lesbian Visibility Day.
Oh boy, guys. What is going on? Wired here. I am back again with another heater of a video. And there are some stories that are just so woke that you can't really even seem to understand what's going on. The only conclusion I have is that we are living in the worst timeline possible, pseudofiable clown world as it were. Because this story, to me at least, in my limited knowledge, makes absolutely no sense at all. But yet, there's going to be political outrage about it because I guess there has to be. From Her to Him, the downfall of a lesbian dating app. Now, I don't even know if I can define lesbian in this day and age, because that might be misandrist or misogyny or one of those. I don't even know. I'm not familiar with the terms anymore. They change every single day to suit narratives. Same with transphobic, bigot, racist, all that stuff. But let's get into the article here because I find this to be absolutely fascinating how this stuff is going in the current timeline, which I'm going to refer to from now on as Clown World. Boasting 1.5 million users in 55 countries, Her is undeniably the largest and most recognizable lesbian dating app on the market. While debatable now, it appears to have been created with the best of intentions. Okay. The app's founder, Robin Exton, said she first set out to design an app that wasn't just a female version of Grindr. Okay, well that's good, because if you know anything about Grindr, that is not the most reputable of site. So that's your intentions, and they worked out semi-good. I'd say Robin Exton, very good for you. However, over the last few years, Her has become less of a platform for lesbians to mingle and more of a case study in the contagion of gender identity ideology and how it uniquely harms the lesbian community. Okay. So once again, is with the bathrooms, with the sports teams, with the locker rooms, with the safe spaces, with the women's shelters, we are once again going to see an invasion of the trans community. I'm going to imagine here. I haven't read this article yet, but let's keep going. Launched in 2015 under the premise of being a female-run lesbian space, Her went through a subtle rebrand in 2018 in an effort to profit from the burgeoning trends of queerness and inclusivity. Terms which have gained popularity from the social justice bloggers of Tumblr and into mainstream discourse. Her, which had ostensibly been designed exclusively for female users, began to add more categories and identities so it could attract a base that included trans-identified individuals, particularly men. Alright, trans-identified individuals, particularly men, on a lesbian dating app. This is what I mean. This is absolute insanity. Is there nothing left for women anymore? Can they have nothing? They don't get anything anymore. It's done. That really seems we're pushing misogyny way back onto everything ever. All the advances women have made in the past hundreds, 200s, thousands of years, gone, erased. Not important anymore. It's being invaded by the alphabet soup community. In their promotional materials, Her even began using the term women, womenx, women, WOMXN, to be more inclusive of those who felt woman was an offensive term. Those who felt woman was an offensive term. Okay, sure, why not? Exiting gave an interview at the time calling the queer community amazing and celebrating the fact that queerness was causing people to question, challenge, and think about their identity. Okay, got no problems with that, really. But what started with a spark of inclusion turned into a wildfire of compulsion. I have no doubts about that either. On Exton's app, there was a flood of men who identified as lesbian who felt welcome to use her as their new mating grounds. All the while, lesbians and bisexual women who were only interested in dating females were not provided any option to filter out these men from their searches. Well, why would they? It's a specifically female app already. Men have no business being on it. Over the short years following, her began mutating into an entity that was openly hostile to its lesbian users in an effort to signal its dedication to inclusivity. Well, that would be the first problem. They would say, you go woke, you go broke. So you never should have done that. That's bad. Without the ability to filter out men who could pick any identity they liked on the app, some female users took it upon themselves to signify that they were only interested in other women by adding it to their bio or including a photo with logos that signified exclusive same-sex attraction. Well, for a lesbian dating app, you shouldn't even have to do that, but if the women want to take that step to do it, I would say that's perfectly fair and reasonable. This is supposed to be a female-led app, only really for female use. Let's see what the problem is with this now, because I'm sure there will be one. Jen, a lesbian user known on Twitter as CBuckRules, told Reddit was suspended after adding no trans women to her bio on her because she was exclusively same-sex attracted. Wow. Jen had joined her in late 2021 looking for a female partner and assuming a lesbian dating app would be the place to go for such an endeavor. I would assume the same thing, Jen. I think you're perfectly reasonable in that response. Finding a veritable smorgasbord of 5 o'clock shadows and head tilts, Jen intended to ensure she would only be contacted by other female users. All right, perfectly fair and reasonable, I believe. Quote, I wrote in my bio what I would not consider the opposite sex as a partner, nor a woman who is not a proud woman, as we would not be compatible. That's her preference. And totally fair. You are allowed to be as picky as you want with your preferences. I really do believe you only want to date a woman or a man with 6 toes on their left foot, and that's your preference, I say go for it. Shortly after, Jen was suspended. She wrote to Hers customer service and asked why and received a snarky response from an agent named Devin berating her for using hateful language in her bio and asserting trans women are women. Yeah, and that may be all and good and fine, even though I don't know if I wholly agree with that statement. But all Jen wrote up here was no trans women. And that's hateful because of her own preference. Jen was incredulous. I think that's a perfect word for it. Her banned me, a lesbian, for being a lesbian and not wanting a sexual or romantic relation with the opposite sex. But Jen's experience is far from isolated. And it's going to go on here and describe a lot of other women's experiences in a lot more detail than I'm going to get into. And it's going to call them, yes, TERFs, which is a derogatory term against women who are apparently against the trans community. And all that stuff. But again, I'm going to say this, and I've been saying this in a lot of my videos about Bud Light. Hasn't this gone too far? Do women have nothing anymore? Why is it that, and I'm going to say this, misogyny has to invade all of women's spaces? This is an app designed for women, for women. Why can they not have this? What is wrong with it? If you want a trans dating site, somebody can make that, and I'm sure it will be perfectly fine, and nobody's going to care about it. Stop invading women's spaces. I'm sick of talking about the same thing every day, and now I'm about to rage, so I'm going to stop right here. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening this long. I will talk to you on the next one. Later.